All righty. Hey, thanks, Ronald. Great stuff, by the way. Everybody, congrats on all the wins this morning. That was fun. We went a little longer than I thought, Steve. But, Steve, look, we wanted to chat today about what's holding people back from doing more
Yeah.
loans than
Hey,
they
well,
could
hold on.
be
Sue
doing. I was
couldn't have.
hoping you could help us out here.
Sue teed it up. I mean, Sue, thank you for that. But you know what? The number one thing she just said:
Hmm.
consistency with my calls. And
Mhm.
when I think, hey, you and I were talking about this. When I think about the reason you may be on the call, but you're not closing more loans, is because look, most of you know what to do. The challenge is not doing it consistently. And here it is, long enough to get the actual results. And so
Hmm.
it's this hit and miss. And so you nailed it on the head. And here's the thing, it's not your fault. But what I will say, Frank, you and I were talking about this, it's not a motivation issue. You know what it is? Hey, everybody on this call, all 447, 48, 49, 50 people on this call, you're motivated, you showed up. Wouldn't you agree?
Mhm.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not a motivation issue. You know what it is? It's a structure issue.
Hmm.
It's look when last year we had Carl and I have the privilege of coaching through the Alliance and doing the 8 week boot camp that we do. And I got to tell you this: last year when one of our first weeks we talk about motivation sucks, discipline rules. But when you dive deep into what discipline is, the number one characteristic of discipline is simply your routine. It's what I get up and do each and every day. And Frank, whether we know it or not, everybody's got a routine. You get up about the same time. You get your
Yep.
coffee about the same time. And I got one of those fitness watches. I'm not wearing it today, but I wore it 6 months in a row. And what was crazy? It made me journal everything I did every day. I could not believe I didn't realize I take my vitamins the same time every day. I mean, I take a shower the same time every day. And I didn't realize that you get into routines. And so the number one characteristic of if you're going to do it is really structure. And so it's about having a very simple plan and process, something that can be easily implemented. So I'm going to share three things that I think will transform your business. But before I do that, Frank, let's ask this. I'd love to hear from everybody. What do you think is the hardest thing? And drop it in the chat. What's the hardest part about being consistent right now? Like what gets in the way every day of being consistent and look, consistent with making the calls, consistent with doing the prospecting moves the needle the most for you, or the activity that you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I was so busy, I knew I should have done that. So what's the hardest part about it? Somebody?
Hmm.
Distractions.
Man, there's a lot.
Yeah, say
Yeah.
some. Say them as they're coming in, Frank. What are they?
There's distractions. There's
Family
email,
emergencies.
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
set time, squirrel,
Oh, that's a big one.
mindset, getting out
Yeah.
of my head, fear of
Yeah.
rejection, organization,
Wow.
motivation,
Yeah.
just
Time
plain
management,
me.
emails. Yeah.
Yumi said just me. Time management.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
Making a
that's a
schedule
lot.
that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Lazy. Well, that's admitting that is great. Chasing conditions. Ugh.
Yeah.
Lack
Lack
of
of follow
follow
through.
through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so
Yeah.
so here's the thing. Again, you showed up. You don't have hey, and I would challenge you, somebody saying like you're not lazy, you showed up. You're motivated. You just need a process and structure. Look, here's what it's like. It's like anybody ever start working out and it's like I'm going to go work out and you get a gym membership, you walk into the gym, got no plan. Look, I've done that. I've done it two ways. I've done it where I bought the gym membership, I walk in, I go in and I push a few weights, I break a little bit of sweat, I get on the treadmill, do a little elliptical, and I'm like, okay, I feel like that was good. I think I'm doing enough. But there's no real plan, and it's like I'll get there, and then I get in the steam room, and then I dry off, and I do it again and again and again, and 30 days later, there's no real change. But the difference is this: what if you walked in with a plan? You had a trainer who said, look, I don't care what you do. And they just say, you walk in and for 27 minutes, you're mine. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do on each day of the week. I'm going to give you a meal plan of what to eat, the calories to intake. And we're going to do this for 90 days and we're going to do it 5 days a week. You're going to get results. And so it really is a lot like that. We get in, And it's not your fault. Nobody said, hey, here's the real plan. And not only a real plan, but here's the real plan that works. And so what we know is it's actually the structure and consistency of doing things each and every day. And we say it like this, Frank, the same way every time. And it's called a sweat method. You don't need 100 things to do. What we found, and look, for those of you on Monday, I'm going to unpack how to close 8 loans a month for you. And on Monday, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to go into more detail around how to close 8 loans consistently a month by only doing one thing. And what we learned in the Call Stars 50 Blitz is you don't have to do 100 things. You only need to do one, two, three, maybe four, and that's it. And so, hey, I'd love to hear this. What is it? And for each of you, what's the one thing that you're like, if I could do this consistently each day, I know my volume would explode. I know I would close the number of loans I need to be closing each and every month. Drop that in the chat. What's the one thing? Hey, because you know what the limiting beliefs are? And Tanya, I'm going to get to you. Give me 1 second. Here's what you'll hear. Oh yeah, Frank, that won't work in my market. Well, I don't know if Sharon Wofford's on here, but tell that to Sharon, who's closing 5.5 million this month in a one stoplight town.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
and then you hear this. I'm already doing everything I can. Well, hey, I'm already doing everything I can is in somebody who feels like that's a limiting belief. Well, here's what we know. The one thing that moves the needles are you having 13 conversations a day with an ask every time you ask. If you do that, you'll get your 10 leads a week, 40 leads a month, 8 transactions a month. So here's another one. Hey, I need more leads. You know what we found out? And we talked about this last week at the 2-day boot camp. I do a whole section on the DSP overview. We do this in the Alliance as well, is where you would be shocked, Frank. Somebody closing 8 loans a month. This is a true number. I was working with the loan officer a few months ago. Loan officer was closing 8 loans a month, and he said, I want to get to 14. And I said, all right, well, let's look at Monday because every day has a conversion. Agents have a conversion. Tuesday, Just Ask has a conversion. He had 8 loans in process. He had a database of 400, and he had 20 pre-approved and looking, and he had 20 qualified agents actively referring him. Frank,
Nice.
listen to this. But he was closing 8 loans a month, and he said, I want to get to 14. If he just converted each of those days, listen to this, he would close 18 loans a month without getting one more lead, like one more referral source. And he would add an additional $30,000 a month in income. And when he saw that, it was like mind blown. Like he was like, bro, I'm not doing a thing but working on my conversion. See, because
Yeah.
people say, hey, I want to double my production and I'm getting 20 leads a month or 30 leads a month and now I need to get 60. No, no, no. Most of the time you could almost double by just converting more of what you already got. Here's the
Right.
other thing. Frank,
Yeah.
you and I hear this all the time. Kristen, we hear this all the time. I've tried coaching. It didn't work. Yeah, I tried this. It didn't work. You know what happens is I think there's a lot of good intentions, but here's what coaching does for you. In the right community, and I say it a lot like this, culture's a current. You're either moving with it or against it. There's no neutral. I used to have my mentor, a dear friend, Ron Lemon. He used to always tell me, son, the earth doesn't run horizontal. You are always climbing a hill. I hate to say it. I wish you could coast, but life won't let you coast. And here's what happens is coaching accelerates your results. Because what happens is, like, the greatest gift that we have in this organization is we get to see the documents and data. We get the results of the Call Stars 50 Blitz, and we know that on a warm list, 44% will answer. We know that 18% of your conversations will give you a relational referral. We know that if you meet with 10 agents on a coffee appointment and you follow the process and use the script and do the 12-week follow-up, what? 2 of them will actively start referring you. See, when you know the data, Frank, now you can't say I've tried it, it didn't work. It's now I know what works. Will I be consistent long enough to actually get the results? Hey, and I talked to my buddy Caden Coots. I was looking to see if he was on here. He was in the Alliance and has been a part of it. Listen to this, Frank, less than a year in the business. His 5th month in the business, he closed 4 loans. I talked to him yesterday. I said, hey, bro, because he was on my heart. I was thinking about him. And I said, bro, tell me where you're at. He said, I'm closing 6 loans this month. I'm like, He said, brother, you changed my life. He said, because he was a high school football coach in West Texas. Like when you think about the movie Friday Night Lights, that was him,
Mm,
Caden Coots. And he's
mm,
in his 20s, precious wife. He's a football coach, brand new in the business. May of last year got in. He joined the Alliance in his 5th month. He was at 4 units. This month, he's still like just continues to climb. He's at 6. Imagine that. I did 8 loans my first year. My first 14 of 24 years was hard. And then
yeah.
as I got around coaching and we began to understand the math, now it's an accelerant. And so the belief, the false belief is I'm too new. I'm too far behind. It won't work. Hey, and here's the 3 things. I'm going to give you 3 things in 6 minutes. And look, if you're saying, hey, I want to know more, and I'll tell you this, we've got 18 spots. And let me just tell you, I love the Alliance. So does Carl. We got 18 spots. That's all we're doing. And the date, Kristen, I think it's like the second week. It's like in a couple weeks.
April 8th.
10 of the spots are already taken.
Mhm.
And before I promote it, because we haven't promoted it, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity. And I'm going to walk you through it. But just go to Loan Officer Success if you want to know more, or drop in the chat. I'm interested. But let me tell you the 3 things. LoanOfficerSuccess.com, fill out your name, cell phone, email. The team will reach out to you, or drop in the chat. I'm interested, and we'll reach out to you. There's only 8 spots left. But look, let me tell you this, and this is for everybody. And I love what Sue said. I started being consistent with the calls, and here's what it is. Number 1, it's clarity. The challenge is most people don't know what to do. But if you take all of the noise, all of the confusion, all of the chaos, all the silver bullets and whistles, and did one thing, you figured out a way to lean into a structure to have 13 conversations, and in every one of those conversations, be honest with yourself about asking for the business. We know mathematically you will close 8 to 10 loans a month, and it takes about 90 days to get there. Okay. So number 1, it's about having a clear plan. Hey, and this is a true story. I was talking, and some of you have heard this. I was talking to a loan officer. This is a few months back, Frank, closed $100 million 3 years ago. And he called me and he said, Steve, I'm only closing 5 or 6 loans. Listen to this. I said, let's go through everything. We went through everything, his calendar, his activity, what he was doing, who he was calling. Spot on. The one thing that he couldn't figure out he was missing, and this is why coaching is so important, Frank. When we got through the math of it, I was able to help him understand through coaching that it was his qualified agents were no longer qualified, and he hadn't updated the list long enough. The only missing piece. So I just thought, man, to go from 20 plus units a month to 5, if he would have known 2 years earlier, I bet he would have made another $1 million. Brother, I mean, I'm just like, so number 1, you got to have clarity. What's the right thing to do each and every day, and how do I stay consistent? Number 2 is confidence. Hey, and I know what you're saying. Yeah, but I don't. First off, in the Alliance, on the 8-week boot camp Alliance, here's one thing I really dispel the myth. Some people say, I have call reluctance. I got a fear of prospecting. No, you're not. It's actually not fear. It's anxiety. And I show you how to walk through the anxiety. People think I'll get confidence and then take action. That's not how it works. Confidence grows in taking massive action. Clarity comes in taking massive action. So number 2 is confidence. Hey, what helps you stay consistent? It's the confidence of taking action. Just like Ron was saying earlier, it's making the calls that's giving him the confidence that he has what it takes to actually do the right activity to get the right results. Number 3, it's community. You can't do it alone. So it's clarity, confidence, community. Here's what we know. And Carl talks about running in the draft all the time. I'm telling you this, when we, like, I just think about the Call Stars 50 Blitz, when you and me and Carl and all of us were on there, brother, I ran different because I was on those calls with each and every one of you. When I show up to Call Stars, I make calls different. When I'm looking at you and saying, I'm showing up for Frank, I'm showing up for Kristen, I'm showing up for Chris, I'm showing up for Jen. Community is the missing piece that most people, I talk to so many loan officers, it's like, I'm alone on an island by myself. Well, stop that. Say, I choose to be in a community that's moving in the right direction with clarity, to build the confidence, to get to 8+ fundings a month, which I'm telling you, it's easier than you think. And so, I just want to encourage you, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Yes.
And that's why structure matters. And motivation gets you started, but without consistent structure, like, look, what's going to change today to ensure you don't get the result you got 30 days ago? And if it's not changing, then let's just be honest and say I'm okay with where I'm at. So
Mm,
here's what I want to do
mhm.
is, if you feel like you've been missing the like accountability and consistency and coaching in a cool way, here's what I'd love for you to do. Go to loanofficersuccess.com and just put your name and information in there and see if it's right for you. We're not opening up any more spots. There are only 18, and this is the only one that's on the calendar. And if you're tired of the results you're getting and you know that, hey, you're worthy of it, go to Loan Officer Success or put I'm interested in the chat. And man, I hope that helps you. It's clarity, confidence, community, and you've got what it takes. So keep showing up. Now, Tanya, I know we're at the top of the hour. What you got, Tanya? You got a question?
I was just going to comment that I think it's funny that you set that analogy because I just talked to Meg yesterday because
Yeah.
I can show up and be consistent every day at the gym and have a plan and I follow it and I stay consistent with it. But I feel like sometimes I just can't stay consistent in making the calls and I can't put my finger on why can't I stay consistent in that. It's, so I can't like figure out like, cause I'll do it and then I won't do it. And I think it just gets in your head. It's kind of like if I don't do it in the morning, I can get in my head, I'll never come to the gym. And the same, a lot of times I get in my head about making the calls. And I think that's the biggest obstacle is getting out of your head and keeping it consistent. And I can't put my finger on why I can be consistent so well at some things and then other things not, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
Absolutely. Hey, and I tell you what, Tanya, and you know this, one of the things that I would encourage you when there's two reasons that I believe. Number one is when you treat your calendar like meeting with a qualified agent and there's no option to execute your calendar. And we talk about it in week 4. Like there's days you show up and it's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. We all do it. I mean, listen, me too. But your calendar drives your activity. And when you create a livable calendar, it's a big part of keeping you consistent. Hey, and I think the other thing, and we talk about this in week 7, is there's a limiting belief. When you begin to change prospecting and you begin to say, I love prospecting, and you can sincerely fill that in, like say, because most of us, it's like, man, I hate making the call. You'll hear yourself saying, I hate making the calls. I hate doing this. God, I hate it when that happens. And as long as you keep saying that, you're going to create doubt and a limiting belief. But when you can say, you know what, this is fun. I love prospecting. You'll create anticipation in your heart to show up each and every day because you know your desired result is coming. And that's just a process of reframing. Look, our past experiences frame future expectation. So, how do we systematically reframe what it is we're expecting when we pick up the phone and make the call? And as we do that in the 8-week like boot camp alliance and on, it begins to transform how you're prospecting. So grateful, Frank, this is such a good topic. And Monday, I'm going to lay out the whole process to actually fund 8 loans consistently a month. And it's so, so easy. I think everybody will enjoy it. So awesome.
Good stuff, man. Thank you, Steve. So that's Monday, but listen, guys, tomorrow, right? We're going to go over, hey, who kind of struggles a little bit with you've got a pre-approved and looking, you've had them for 6 weeks, you call them every Thursday, and now you're starting to feel weird about it. Like, what am I doing here? Or the post-coffee meeting calls, you get a little nervous about those or feeling a little weird about that. That's what we're going to go over tomorrow. That's
Yeah.
what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So follow-up calls is what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Thursday, Marty Guy Fink. We're gonna spotlight Marty Guy Fink. That's gonna be super fun. That's gonna be great.
Who has been a part of the Alliance boot camp and is the #1 loan officer in volume and units in her company. What's up, Marty?
Think about that. So a year ago, goose egg.
Mom.
Now she's at the top of the leaderboard in her company. How bizarre is that? Yeah, well, let's
So
learn
amazing.
about that. So that's going to be Thursday. Friday, of course, Mr. Chris Johnstone's going to freak us out. And then Monday, Steve Kyles is going to give us the perfect blueprint, the perfect plan to be able to close 8 deals a month. We got a great lineup for the next few days here. So we're hoping you guys continue to come back. Now, listen, guys, loanofficersuccess.com if you're interested in learning more about the Alliance and getting into that. Or you could just say, I'm interested in the chat. I saw a couple of I'm interested. But yeah, if you're just interested, just put it in there. We'll give you a call, go through it with you, show you what it's all about. So yeah, today is Tuesday. Today is our Just Ask calls. Don't forget. So we're calling everybody that's an active file in the pipeline, bar or co-bar, or listing agent, selling agent, escrow person, insurance person. Each transaction has up to 6 people that we can call, touch base, and ask them if they know anybody else that needs our help. Easy stuff, man. Easy stuff. You got 5 deals in the pipeline. There's 30 calls you can make today asking for the business. And these calls are all calls that people are anxious to hear from you about. They want to hear from you today. They're looking for your call today, right? So these are great, easy calls. You just got to make sure to convert more of what you got, which means you have to ask for the business. All right, you guys, loanofficersuccess.com, or I'm interested in the chat. We're going to get on out of here. Everybody good to go? We good to go? Good day today?
Do it.
All right, come on, man. Turn the hat around like Skylar and let's get moving, my friends. Come on. Adios. We'll see you guys here manana at the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, my friends. Brought to you by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. We'll see you later. Adios.